Hey, my name is Daniel Santrella, and I'm a songwriter. I've been an artist for a long time, and I've worked with a lot of different bands, but now I realize that my strengths are sort of behind the spotlight. For me, the journey hasn't really ever been to stand in the center of a stage and sing to a bunch of people. I'll do it when I have to, or I do it when I think it can help advance sort of whatever's going on. But at the end of the day, it's just that creative process that really gets me going, and I want to open the doors to that and let you all in. For this first video, I just want to talk about a recent trip I took down to Nashville, my first real co-write sessions that I've ever actually had. There was a lot that I didn't expect, and maybe eventually we'll talk about exactly how I got to where I was. But what I'd love to run through with you today is just a couple things that I learned there and a couple unexpected occurrences. One of the first things that I'd recommend is to actually get some studio time under your belt. I think one of the parts of this experience that could be really unnerving to someone is that you're going to spend most of your time actually in the studio. Low lighting, situation, but it does feel high pressure, I think, sometimes. You're working with a lot of different personalities, and those personalities are obviously looking for what's best for the song at the end of the day, and can you write something together? Part of my experience was thinking that if I had this huge back catalog of material, I could just roll to Nashville and send it out to a bunch of different artists based on what it would sound like, and hopefully it met their range and all of those things. Not a single song happened like that. Every single thing that we did, we created in the moment, on the fly. I don't even know how to emphasize it enough, but having Rhymezone and a thesaurus handy right there in my phone was absolutely necessary. You're creating lyrics on the fly, you're working with a bunch of people who, if the song works, they're gonna sing it for a real long time, but you're also creating those words right then on the spot. And so those are obviously just some things that you really should have in your tool belt ready to go. You should have some basic understanding of what's going on in like a DAW. It's a digital audio workstation. You should have a good understanding of, obviously like who the artist is and what they sound like and what they want to sound like or what they're trying to achieve. But at the end of the day, knowing your own strengths is actually a huge part of this. For me, that was just bringing a whole lot of energy to those sessions, a lot of positivity, a lot of basically anything I could coax out of them to make everyone feel really comfortable as soon as possible. You really just don't have to be the master of musical knowledge. Like, I can't read music myself. I'm a total hack when it comes to playing most instruments that aren't a guitar. But realizing and recognizing there are folks in the room who can do this stuff perfectly, and then capitalizing on their strengths to actually help the session was hugely helpful, super inspiring, and crazy motivational for me as well. We were writing a song that was in a minor key, it was in a B minor, and what I realized at some point in writing that song was that for this chorus to really pop, for it to rip the listener's face off, we're gonna need that to be in a major key. Now, look, I don't know what the relative major of a B minor is. I mean, I do now, but I had no idea going into that session what it was. I did know that there was someone in the room with all of the strength to do that. And so when I made mention to them, hey, what if we flipped this to the relative major? 15 minutes later, the entire chorus of that song shifted up, and we wrote this beautiful melody that just sounded absolutely bombastic. That's not something that I would have done on my own in my own session work. This was just something that the song I felt really needed, and I think everyone at the end of the day felt very strongly that this served the purpose of that song better than anything else could have. So that was just recognizing someone else's strength and saying, look, I don't know how to do this, which, by the way, no way was I going to admit to that. I just decided that this was the right move for the song, and someone else could definitely get it done the right way. And they did. I don't know, I think in those situations you end up looking like you know a lot more than you do. And that's really helpful. Everyone gets into these environments, and it could be at work, it could be in your kitchen, it could be, honestly, like at home, where you feel like just this imposter syndrome. Like you snuck into the theater, and any moment someone's gonna come with that flashlight and ask for your ticket, right? That first session I had, I remember just like kind of sweating a little bit and being like pretty nervous about who I was about to meet, how hands-on I really needed to be in those sessions, or if I was supposed to be completely hands-off and just sort of help when it was necessary. But it became pretty clear after a little while, when this person started to struggle with what the melody should really be and what those lyrics could sound like, that I could jump in and start to play along. And as they started taking what I was putting down, you started to have that sense of, oh, okay, that snuck into the theater syndrome starts to wear off a little bit, and you start to go, okay, wait, some of what I'm saying is actually happening now. It's going to work. The feeling for me that I think out of this whole trip to Nashville that was most exciting was that first time in my life holding my own notebook, reading my own handwriting, and listening through those speakers to the person in vocal booth A singing that stuff aloud for the first time. It gave me chills right now, it gave me chills right then. I couldn't put them down. It put a huge smile on my face, and I got so excited about exactly what was going on there. I think that was just the first time where I realized this stuff could work. What I was doing was worthwhile. We're all gonna have these days where we totally feel like we snuck into the theater. We're all gonna have these days where, the journey of creating isn't always on the up. Every day of your life is not gonna be the most positive day you've ever had. But it's moments like those that make it so worthwhile. Hey, thanks for watching this with us today. I'd invite you to click subscribe if you want to continue on this journey with us. Sometimes we'll be talking about experiences like we did today, but I also plan to give you a lot of tips and tricks and practical learning experiences so that you can write better songs.